Now, without further ado, let me invite our presenter for today, Duncan, to bring you through today's webinar. Duncan.
Yeah. Hi, afternoon everybody. My name is Duncan, and I'm a sales manager here at JustLogin. So for today itself, our topic of the afternoon is my data safe in the cloud. Just want to make it clear. Today's presentation is more to give you a rough idea in terms of how organizations or what clients are looking at when they consider security or security considerations when they're looking at cloud options. We're not going to go into a technical discussion here. So if you do have technical questions, please feel free to use the chat option to list them down. The team will actually take them, record them, and if we can, at the end of the presentation, through email, we'll give you some updates based on our research. So, who is JustLogin? We are your first HR software as a service solution provider in Asia. We have 18 years of experience providing HR cloud services to the region. And at present, we are available in 25 countries, primarily for leave management, claims management, and time and attendance. We've actually built a customer base of over 1,800 customers, and we've won numerous awards over the last few years. Most recently, we got the HR Vendors of the Year for payroll, a gold medalist in last year's awards. So for the agenda today, right, we're going to talk through 4 areas. Some common misconceptions about what cloud applications are, a brief intro to what cloud computing or cloud solutions could look like, and we'll see how we can tackle some of these misconceptions. And I think perhaps everybody here on the call today would probably be considering data security and how safe is your information on the cloud. So just to cover a few areas, I think one of the most frequent questions is, my data safe? Will my customers' information be secure? And many organizations feel more comfortable with their information stored on what we know as an on-premise type of solution, which typically means that you've made investments building up an IT infrastructure, having an IT team manage this infrastructure internally or in-house, and your users or your employees will have access to this solution through managed in-house. But overall, a lot of organizations today are moving to the cloud. Why? Because of reliability and of course constant innovation. Cloud solutions offer you quite a number of non-tangible benefits like 24/7 support, ability for you to have multi-language coverage, and of course, ability for you to have your applications on mobile. So those are some of the common benefits that you can get with cloud-based solutions. And not forgetting, when it comes to data security, you have enterprise level data security standards, which we can cover a little bit more shortly. So what are some of the common misconceptions about cloud? I think at the end of the day, based on the meetings that I go through with my clients, more often than not, I'm hearing that they feel lack of control over their data if they move to the cloud. There's always a sense that cloud solutions are more vulnerable to security attacks, and of course that fear where people are able to access employee personal information by using cloud solutions. So let's try and tackle some of these misconceptions. Essentially, what is a cloud solution? Here are some definitions and examples of various models for cloud-based solutions, one of which is software as a service model, a platform as a service model, and of course an infrastructure as a service model. Across the 3 models that are there, JustLogin falls under the software as a service solution provider. More often than not, these service providers, the likes of Gmail, Dropbox, and Facebook, are very app solution based, meaning when you go to the marketplace, you find an app that meets your requirements, that is able to adapt to your processes. You're not building anything from scratch. You subscribe to what is out of the box available from this solution provider. As we move on to platform as a service, essentially you take on board that you do not want to manage any form. You want to be able to quickly create custom applications for your own organization. So the likes of Google Apps Engine, which allows you to quickly build a mobile app, a web-enabled app. These are providers that offer what we call platform as a service. The last box, which is infrastructure as a service, essentially you are taking on board that you want to create a new form of service for your organization, which could consist of multiple applications, which could cater to multiple departments, which could be highly customized, but you want this mobile and web enabled, which is why the infrastructure as a service model allows you to take care of all the back-end infrastructure requirements, offers you a more scaled down and predictable model for you to manage this infrastructure cost over your time. But the benefit here for infrastructure as a service model, it really allows you to innovate. It really provides flexibility for you to adjust your applications and web programs based on the demands of business and changes in your business environment. Now, how does the cloud work? In simple terms, it allows you to store and access data and programs over the internet in terms of your computer's hard drive or through servers. But essentially what it means is that you will require internet connectivity to have access to the applications or programs that you're creating. And what does it mean to be cloud-based? Now, cloud computing minimizes basically the zero infrastructure costs. Zero infrastructure costs, which means that you do not need to spend additional resources in terms of maintaining. You do not need to allocate on the logistic front. You do not need to allocate a base, a home, a storeroom, or a storage facility for you to maintain this particular infrastructure. So instead, for users' perspective, you're really using, you pay for what you use and when you use it. From a provider perspective, it actually allows the provider to provide larger economies of scale, offer their marketplace or their customers much more innovation in terms of the ability to quickly provide agile solutions, provide agile or new features on their service for a wide variety of customers. Not to mention, from a provider perspective, what we enable our customers to do is we create a platform that allows them to configure the requirements based on different processes that they are carrying out within their organization. Here's some examples of cloud solutions that are used in the market today. Within our organization alone are some of the applications that we are actually using. We actually use Salesforce to manage our sales. We actually use Slack to have internal messages, share documents, create groups, so that we actually can, when we're working on particular projects, we're able to actually form teams and manage this. And of course, we use JustLogin mobile to check our payslips, to apply for leave, to mark our time and attendance. Today's session, we are actually using Zoom for video conferencing. And of course, we are also using the likes of MailChimp and Dropbox when actually we are managing some of our campaigns. So there are many apps that are available out there. Some of them are actually free. Some of them are low-cost providers. And this is a very classic example of how a nimble or small organization can benefit from SaaS solutions, because not everybody in the organization use all of these applications. Some use them more than others. And again, for each of these applications, they have their own set of security standards. So the data, the communications, the connectivity that we have with all these different departments and teams, essentially from a security perspective, is managed in these silos. So another common misconception that we actually see in the market today is a lot of people are confusing what a public cloud concept and a private cloud concept is like. So just to share, a public cloud offers a multi-tenant implementation. What it actually means is that you have an infrastructure that has been set up, which allows multiple companies or customers to actually configure various modules or various features that they require based on their organization's processes. This particular model provides supports multiple customers and requires internet connectivity. Now, a private cloud is a single tenant implementation. What it means is that you are when you look at a provider, when you sign up for a particular service, you're signing up for a specific version of that service, of that module. And what it means is that you are clustered together with other customers on one single version of that particular product. You may have various options for connectivity, whether it is through a VPN or private network, or you can connect via internet. But the biggest drawback here is that there's lack of innovation. So a public cloud concept, more often than not, your upgrades, your updates, your control of users is much more straightforward. It actually supports a lot of innovation. So any new features that are released as a subscriber to the service, you have the ability to enable these features when they are released. And you're paying for constant innovation. Now, in comparison, if you're looking at a private cloud, there's also some restriction because when you decide to move to the next version of this cloud solution, there will probably be an upgrade path, which essentially means that there's some form of reinvestment on top of your monthly subscription in order for you to get the new or the latest features or innovation that's available for that product. Another thing here is that when you signed up, if you can imagine, if you had signed up last year for this particular instance, the standards, the security that was all built is all based on last year's innovation. There may be new security standards, there may be new programs or solutions out there that are more secure, and potentially this will actually restrict you or force you to move or consistently be upgraded to that next version. So although a private cloud has the concept of a cloud, essentially you are still adopting a semi subscription-based model, but every time you are looking at new features or upgrades or updates or changes to sort of security standards, you may be subject to what is known as an upgrade path. Now, another misconception here is that you don't have control over the data when they are moving into the cloud. And more often than not, we see this in organizations that have not innovated or have not subscribed to any new form of IT solutions in the last 10 years, where they have still a concept that so long as I physically have the solution stored within my vicinity, I have more control over more control over my data. So on the surface, this kind of makes sense given how technology was traditionally deployed and maintained. And companies often would actually secure their own hardware and store their data on their own equipment, either in the office or in a cabinet in a data center that only they had access to, giving companies a much more comfortable level of security because it's physically managed within their control. Now, the thing here is that in terms of this is a clear misconception because data when it is stored on cloud-based solutions, typically your solution or service providers would adopt a more enterprise level standard of security. The other thing here is that at any point in time, as a subscriber to such services, there will always be a path for you to extract, export, or import your data at any point in time. So perhaps another consideration is that for services that you are subscribing to, at the end of service, or so you choose to move to different providers, there will always be a path for you to extract and the data that you have sort of uploaded or utilized during the duration of service. The conception here is that yes, you actually have control of your data at any point in time. You will be able to extract, remove, or restrict how you want access to this data. So yes, using cloud does not mean that there's a lot of control, a loss of control. It just means that you don't need to invest heavily in maintaining these servers and forms of data centers, because this is being managed by your solution provider instead. So cloud solutions are less secure than on-premise. This misconception, I would say that it really varies from solution provider to solution provider. So in your search for new cloud applications, perhaps create a checklist, and in this checklist, ask your solution provider about the kind of security standards that they put in place. They should always have some form of compliance. They should always be transparent in the compliance, in the way that they are managing your data, in the way that they, in terms of the privacy acts and compliance standards that they adopt. But more important than not, do ask these providers from a backend, in terms of backend infrastructure, what kind of standards are they adopting? What kind of infrastructure, for example, Amazon Web Services, are they subscribing to? And with this, you will be able to, these solution providers should be able to provide you with these kind of standards, or at least some form of documentation based on the security standards and common practices of their infrastructure. So another thing here is also privacy policy. Now, as you are moving into cloud solutions, for most providers, they will have readily available privacy policies. So for example, JustLogin ourselves, we provide a transparent policy on our website, and customers are, so basically there is transparency from the provider in terms of how we actually manage your personal data. So another misconception is people I don't know cannot access my personal information from the internet. And typically this is not entirely true. Why? Because at any point in time, most cloud solutions require some form of initial sign-in or some form of authentication. And at the same time, with innovation, you will also find that these days, even with common or free applications like Google Apps, they also require a second level of authentication. You have to key in your mobile PIN, or your access is linked to your mobile phone. So not only do you sign in with your credentials, you may be required to further authenticate via a PIN in order for you to have access to these applications. Now, a simple feature like this is very hard for you to implement via an on-premise model, which is why these are security features that more often than not, you will find readily available through cloud-based services. Yeah, some key takeaways that perhaps that we have sort of shared today is that from a cloud data privacy perspective, it is pretty clear that these days, cloud providers are looking or have some form of security standards that are readily available for you to review. We actually also talk a little bit about privacy policies, which more often than not should be readily available on your provider's website in terms of how these solution providers are managing your data. And another thing here is that Google only collects information that is public. Of course, depending on the level or the type of applications that you are accessing, you may be subject to additional authentication, or you can put in place additional authentication if required. I'm actually coming towards the end of or I'm actually at the end of this sharing session today. With that, I'm just gonna pass back to Tessa for any closing remarks.
If there are no questions for today, we hope that you managed to take away something from this session. Thank you.